The more things change elsewhere, the more they stay the same at dear old Highbury. Arsenal try again, essentially with last year's personnel. Their key summer business, the recontracting of several luminaries, including vitally this week, Patrick Vieira. There is just one debutant. Jens Lehmann moves into David Seaman's goalmouth. And for now, at least, Everton are also as before, albeit short of strikers without Ferguson or Campbell, and with Rooney ready only for the bench. Instead, Nick Chadwick makes only his third Premiership start. In midfield, Gemmell and Carsley are unfit, so Tobias Linderoth, last season almost an injury write-off, is back. To improve on the already excellent. It is tough, but Arsenal demand of themselves this time to do better than second, to get in front and to stay in front. And Everton's exceptional progress last year serves only to magnify their expectation now. Jens Lehmann with a first touch of a Premiership football, aimed at Patrick Vieira, who will now touch many more, as indeed will Robert Pires, both re-signed this week. Wiltor. Lifted towards Freddie Ljungberg, whose shoulder has recovered from the tumble he took in Cardiff last weekend. Pembridge climbing with Lauren. And now for Graveston. And head into a channel for young Nick Chadwick to chase. Arsene Wenger has achieved in the transfer market this summer what he set out to achieve, and that was to keep what he had. Stops in hard at the back of Wiltor. Watson. In for Graveston. Here's Radzinski with space on the right. Aimed in for Chadwick. Oh, good stop. Jens Lehmann instinctively threw out a boot, and it has kept Arsenal from going behind. Ljungberg. Lauren. Ljungberg. Drops in by Pires for Cole. He skipped away from a pair of them and fed Robert Pires. Arching the back from Radzinski. It's Henry. It was only a shade away from being absolutely perfect. Rattled the roof of the net, but from the wrong side. A fizz and a dip. A near thing. Pembridge. Graveston. Away from Gilberto, away from Toure, away from Campbell, but for a last-gasp nick of his ankles. Now, was Campbell the last man? He was at the eye of a major disciplinary storm in Cardiff last Sunday, and he found himself in a fairly desperate predicament here. And he has been dispatched. Mark Halsey, who sent off Sol Campbell against Manchester United at the back end of last season, has begun this campaign in the Premiership by dismissing the same man. And Arsene Wenger, who expressed great sympathy for his centre-half in the wake of the Community Shield events, and indeed in the wake of events last April when he got tied up with Ole Solskjaer, can only look on grey-faced and arguably can only concur that Campbell did deny Thomas Graveston a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Now, a major examination potentially of Jens Lehmann. In the long term, because he's going to have to adjust to a different and depleted defensive setup. In the short term, because he has a free kick to face, possibly from Alan Stubbs, who gives him an almighty wallop from this range. Possibly from Thomas Graveston, who earned it. Tobias Linderoth is in the frame too. There are half a dozen in Arsenal's wall. It's Stubbs, and it bounced back off Ljungberg. Now to say I'd be surprised if he was a full 10 yards away when the ball was struck. Lauren. Gilberto. Vieira. Pires. Henry. Pires. He's gone over, and Mark Helsey has given nothing. Having, in fairness to the referee, been within 2 or 3 yards of the incident. And in fairness to Robert Pires, there doesn't appear to be much of a complaint from him. Unsworth, it was flying across. Pires, due credit to the Frenchman, was quickly to his feet in pursuit of the ball and not the official. Ljungberg. Through the channel for Henry. That's against Stubbs' elbow. It's a penalty. Well, it's hardly a gentle opener for the man in green. Mark Helsey has had, what, 3 major decisions to make inside the last 5 or 6 minutes. Alan Stubbs could easily make the case for saying it was ball to elbow, though equally there was an instinctive reaction from Stubbs which suggested elbow to ball, and Mark Helsey probably got that one right as well. And Richard Wright now faces an old friend in Thierry Henry, scorer last Sunday in Cardiff, scorer of Arsenal's first Premiership goal last season. And it's the Professional Footballers Association Player of the Year for last season is the first scorer for Arsenal at the beginning of this, with a penalty dispatched with characteristic calm. Given away by Gravison to Henry, with Gilberto on his shoulder. Gilberto would not do that again if he was faced with the same situation 100 times. Gravison's off the hook. Henry put it on a plate for Gilberto, but the World Cup winner had an awful aberration and still is without a Premiership goal. Well, it's hardly been a gentle opener. I think the referee's got very little wrong, in fairness to him, but for the 3rd time in 4 years, Arsenal are a man short on the opening day, and for the umpteenth time, they've made light of losing a man, leading as they do by Thierry Henry's penalty. Of course, these are the 2 senior citizens of top-flight English football. Everton kicking off their 50th consecutive season in the top division. Arsenal, their 78th. Nobody can match those runs upstairs. Here's Watson for Everton, who, of course, retain a man advantage going into the second half here. Everton visit Charlton on Tuesday week. He's got Di Canio. Pires. Away from Gravison, in towards Henry, and hacked behind by Pistoni. Left-footed player playing at right full-back now, Alessandro Pistoni. Henry's corner. And Vieira's header wide. Was he who got the winner against Everton here in March. He wasn't so far away from getting the second there. Cole was backtracking to Reed. Took it away from Radzinski, but then gave it to Gravison. Radzinski. Arsenal short at the back. Radzinski's hit. which didn't get the in-swing he craved. Now, it wasn't a great deal for Thomas Radzinski to aim at. He went between Keown's legs. And this is the moment which would cause, according to recent history, Arsenal fans to be very afraid. In place of Tobias Linderoth, Wayne Rooney, in front of the man who may or may not employ him at Portman Road this week. Ljungberg. Pires. Teasing Pistoni. Back for Ljungberg. Back for Vieira. Patrick Vieira. Robert Pires. Thierry Henry. Oh, it's a very good stop. It's Vieira. It's Pires. It's two. Arsenal beat at the door so repeatedly and so hard that eventually it was bound to come crashing down. Henry's was the drive that drew the fine save from Richard Wright. He composed himself well to deny Vieira, but he was floored by the time Robert Pires arrived to double Arsenal's lead. At times it is easy to forget that they are a man shy. They always seem to have a man over, and this time it was Robert Pires. An exchange between Lauren and Ljungberg. And Lauren went over under Wayne Rooney's over-eager challenge. His fitness is bound to be in question, Wayne Rooney. He was hungry enough to go tackling back there. He was injured in a pre-season game at Ibrox in the last week of July, and only really started training again this week. Henry with the free kick, conceded by Wayne Rooney. Gilberto Vieira! That is a top save. Exceptional reflexes from Richard Wright, and a good strong thrust of his top hand to get it over the top of the crossbar. Parlour trying to dash between two of them and tangling himself up with Thomas Gravesen. Free kick is against Gravesen. And it is the Dane's name that will find its way into Mark Halsey's book, and it's fairly clear why. Headlong into Thierry Henry there, and on the North Bank they're crying for a second yellow and a red. Mark Halsey isn't going to oblige. A little bit clumsy on another day, maybe. Henry has to go off to receive attention from Gary Lewin. So there'll be a different striker of the set piece. And Freddie Ljungberg has made himself favourite. Oh, it's in the crossbar. Best of the bunch that from Ljungberg. Beautiful strike. Parlour. Keown. Arsenal's ball. Well, nothing Thierry Henry has come up with on the afternoon has matched this delightfully flighted effort from Freddie Ljungberg. Up, over, down, but not down quite far enough. Nowhere to go. When he tried to go around Lee Tier, the Chinese international sent him flying. And the referee, who has reluctantly often been the central figure in this game, has Had to go to his top pocket again, and again you can't argue with that. In by Naismith. Eamon backpedaling, got a finger on it. Better safe than sorry, or at least that is the interpretation of Mark Halsey. As it turned out, he needn't have got a finger on it. In by Watson. Away as far as Lee Tier. And Yobo. And Naismith. And Radzinski! With a little more than 6 minutes to play, Everton have an interest. Given them by last season's top scorer, Thomas Radzinski. First by the determination of Lee Tier and by the industry of Joseph Yobo. Helped on its way by Naismith, helped in by Thomas Radzinski, and the contest is still alive. Hung up by Pistone. Parler ran into Lee Tier. And Lee Tier, who was late arriving as a substitute, is early departing as the second dismissed player of the game. And for a manager, it makes you wonder why you bother. He came on wound up, he only got more wound up. And it's 10 against 10. Gilberto, keep ball is everything now for those in red. Parler. Arsenal win the match. What a match. 3 goals, 2 red cards, 101 talking points on a busy old first day back at the Highbury office. The statistics that count, 2 for Arsenal, 1 for Everton. You must feel a bit as though the world is against you at the moment, and Sol Campbell in particular must feel the world's crashing in on him.
I don't know. I think today he was unfortunate to be sent off, but we can accept the decision of the referee. And for the rest, I think it's all hype being done by the media, and I think that was really unfair. Like, I can only repeat what I said already. Today we will deal with it, and we accept that it can happen in every game. Was not something malicious. We wanted to play the ball, and it was too late.
How do you read it in terms of the big picture?
Well, a great chance for us to get a result at Highbury. That's the first thing I would say. And you know, in the first half, probably before the sending off, we could have probably done that. I think the sending off actually helped him and hindered us.
I think when they did go down to 10 men, we didn't even push on and play the same game we were playing previous to that. We sort of sat back a bit as if to say, oh, this is going to be a bit easier, rather than going ahead and putting them under pressure, which we were, as a team, we were very disappointed about.
People were asking if we had still the mentality and the desire and the commitment, because, you know, at high level, to score 2 goals while you're playing at 10, I know once was a pen, but I think it was definitely a pen. And after to score a goal like we scored, but the way we defend and the way we put our foot in and we did work with each other, that was a great thing today.
I feel that the team is hungry and motivated, and they've shown that today. And from today's performance, I think they'll get out stronger.
Well, Campbell's sending off in a moment, Andy, but overall, what was your first impression of Arsenal's start? Started slowly. Everton, sharper in the first 10 minutes, had a couple of chances, could have gone in front. The game changed completely with the Sol Campbell sending off, Des. Arsenal was struggling, they really were at that point, but strangely, they come alive after this. Graveson's a good collecting midfield, good positive run. Sol Campbell's got very square on there, and it's a clumsy, awkward challenge. It's a definite red card, no question. Toure lunges in, again there you can see him dangling the leg out, you can have no complaints. Mark Halsey, give him some credit, the referee, because it's a brave decision, especially since what happened in the Charity Shield the other week. That's a big decision early on in your first game, and it was the correct one, a definite red card. And then strangely after that, Everton were second best.
Well, they were. Arsenal, I think, was their wake-up call, Des. They suddenly realised, look, we're going to have a game on here. We've got another hour to go. We want to get off to a winning start. We're going to have to find a gear. And they started to do that. Everton, as you say, sat back, a lot of bodies behind the ball. But Arsenal, once they got going forward, once they realised they're now involved in a game, they showed what they're all about. That's a poor square ball, dangerous ball that is. Graveson's played square along his back four. But that's Gilberto, a midfield player trying to make up the ground. Didn't learn that one on the Copacabana beach, but nonetheless, it was a real bold run. Watch that for a crunching tackle. And this is Arsenal. You can turn the clock back 12 months. When they started last season, they were irresistible. A man short look, but they are piling men forward. Again, Henry in his favourite left side, nearly finding Pires on the back stick. I think the second goal typifies everything about what David Moyes said. They weren't really at it. Look, Freddie Ljungberg picking up a loose ball. There's no way the Everton players should be second best in the middle of the park. When the ball comes out to Pires, there's a lot of blue shirts behind. You can see from this wide angle, hell of a lot of blue shirts in the middle of the box. But they're not really going after it collectively. It's all the odd player here and there, and when the ball breaks, as it does right now to Henry, look, you can see there's 4 Everton defenders in a line. Vieira's onside when Henry strikes this ball. Richard Wright makes a great save, but they're not alive, the Everton players. Typical of them in the second half. Then Pires steals in, and it's game, set and match. They deserved it, Arsenal. Showed a lot of character, having been 10 men for about an hour.
Now, Andy, the papers are having a go tomorrow morning. Shame of old Arsenal souls sending off, of course, and Henry in shirt fury, this one says here. Let's have a look at the so-called shirt fury. What did you make of it?
Well, it was his penalty. He tucks the penalty away. I mean, your emotions are running high, Des. You know, it's the first game of the season. I don't believe it's a premeditated wind-up in front of all the Everton fans. It's a bit stupid, I've got to say. And supporters nowadays, they won't have none of that. They're going to throw stuff at you. I don't think it's a blatant inciting the opposing fans. I don't think it's very clever.
What do you think of it, Ron?
I'd go with Andy on that. I don't think there's anything vindictive in it. I think they could stop it all, Des, if they said, right, anybody that takes the shirt off now, because it's unnecessary, send them off. Yeah. That'll stop it in
they
one
weren't going
hit.
to do it, and they changed their minds.
Well, they had the booking thing, then they said, you know, and ah on it. Just make it a general rule now. If you take your shirt off, you're sent off. Okay. Nobody will take the shirt off.
Okay.
Then.
Now, 3-2 at Aldershot Town's Recreation Ground. Arsenal took the lead in the first half. David Bentley getting the better Winston Bohade for knocking the ball in over Lenny Pidgley. Chelsea got the leveller after the break. Sebastian Kneissl with the well-struck shot, beating Stuart Taylor, and just a minute later, Chelsea were ahead. Kneissl with another well-taken goal. And it was 3-1 through substitute Galazio, his well-placed shot, beating Taylor. Tremendous roar from the crowd. Jeremy Aladier pulled one back for Arsenal in stoppage time, but Chelsea held on to win the game 3-2.